GLC is now offering a free audio stream of our 24/7 broadcast that we're calling GLC Radio, an online radio station that broadcasts our round-the-clock audio stream on a variety of platforms. GLC Radio gives you the ability to listen to GLC virtually anywhere, through your home or office computer, or on the go with a mobile device. You can access GLC Radio through our website or by searching for God's Learning Channel through iTunes Internet Radio, TuneInRadio.com, or on Shoutcast.com. Explore various GLC Radio-enabled mobile apps by visiting our website at glc.us.com/listen/GLC Radio. GLC Radio, your free connection to GLC anywhere, anytime.
Well, praise God, and welcome to the weekend lineup.
Or update news.
Yeah. But
Every single Friday you do that. I think it's the funniest thing because that's the important part of this show.
Well, I was sitting here thinking, well, this isn't coming on at 7 p.m. on Friday tonight because it's a double.
There's a double Torah portion tonight, or as you're seeing,
there was
at 7 o'clock, and throughout the weekend, anytime that Shabbat Shalom is airing, it will be a double portion.
Mm-hmm.
So but this program still airs like 4 times this weekend, something like that. So
Okay.
there we are. So
Where do you want to start?
with the weekend lineup. That's why you say that, Dad, because that's what we always start with. That's the weekend lineup.
Weekend, yeah.
Okay, so 8 p.m. tonight, what do we got going on? Oh, Ruth Steinfeld. Okay, we are like kind of in the middle of Holocaust remembrance right now. Started a couple nights ago, Wednesday night. And this first one is Ruth Steinfeld. Her story is so incredibly interesting. And, oh my goodness, she was in France. That will air tonight at 8, Sunday morning at 5 a.m., and Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. Lou Dunst and Dr. Rick Waj. That was the second time that Rick Waj had ever come to GLC, and he brought this Holocaust survivor with him. Lou is one of the sweetest men I have ever met in my life. That program will air Saturday.
And he should be so bitter.
No, none of these people are bitter.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
None of the Holocaust survivors that I have met are bitter, and I've never heard a story of one who is either.
That's right.
Saturday, 1 a.m., and Saturday at 8 p.m. And then the Liberators.
They were wonderful.
They're wonderful. They're actually from Midland, both of them, Jerry Morgan and Bill Womack. Saturday at 5 a.m., Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., and Monday at 1 a.m. And then to wrap up our focus this week on Holocaust remembrance, Ted Pierce came into town yesterday, and we got that thing on the air last night because we have an incredible team. So that will be airing Saturday at 2 p.m., Sunday at 1 a.m., Sunday at 8 p.m., and Monday at 7 a.m. Ted talked about all kinds of really incredible things, but one thing I want to remind everybody of, in case you're seeing this program before Sunday afternoon, is this weekend is when the March of Remembrance will be taking place in so many cities across the nation. And so you want to look that up. And what was it that he said look up? marchofremembrance.org, O-R-G. You can look up wherever any of those are at. If you're in Dallas, you can join Ted Pierce. If you're in Tucson, you can join Steve Shermett. And oh my gosh, I had to find out from Ted all of the people that Steve has added to his march since I talked to him. He's got 2 senators, a congressman, you know.
I know. State senators.
Yeah.
State representatives.
Yep, that's so...
He's awesome.
So cool. So that's what we got going on. And a note of gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
A speech of gratitude. Okay.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. Do you remember a few weeks ago I told you that this really awesome place here in Odessa, Dale's Printing, had printed that beautiful newsletter that we sent out for free. They did it for us for free as a donation.
Right.
Today, they did something else for us
They
today.
did.
Take a look at what they did for us today. You see, that's our bookstore. Those signs, bookstore, the Welcome Center, and the coffee shop, they donated brand new signs for our bookstore.
So you can determine what it is.
Well, yes, but out front, many people will be happy to see. Look at this. See the GLC sign with the logo? They have just put that there. The other one was an old logo. The sign was really beat up.
And it was
So now people will be able to find us better because this is our logo.
Amen.
So many thanks to Dale Signs.
Amen.
So they have Dale's Printing and they have Dale Signs.
They
and
do.
We're throwing their information up on the screen because I'm telling you, they did a really fine job
They do.
on
Excellent.
everything they do for us.
Excellent work.
Well, Dale, if I can get this out, Dale came to me and your mother, I don't remember where we were at. We saw him at a restaurant.
That's because you eat out all the time.
I do eat out all the time. And said, we want to help GLC out. We've heard through the grapevine that finances are off. And what can we do? We didn't say nothing. They said, how about the newsletter? Then they came out and they saw the signs and said,
They
how
need
about
new
the
signs."
You need new signs.
And we do it. And we intended to have all this done for a roundup in this month. But we had to delay till next month.
Well, that had nothing to do with the signs.
No,
We're
but-
just too busy to do Roundup. Yeah.
But the point is, we normally do our roundup in April. We didn't make it. If your clock says GLC had a roundup in April, I didn't participate. Go ahead and participate.
Yeah. Because our finances are, I pay the bills or I don't pay the bills if I don't have money.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm a month behind on everything. A month behind on everything except the staff's paychecks. That's about the only thing that we're not behind on because you know what? I'll take care of my
Good.
staff before I take care of anything else because
tell ya.
they serve.
Boy,
Well,
they
we
a good
couldn't do
job.
it. Anything without
you
them.
can't do anything
Might
without
as well
them.
close the doors.
So anyway, so yes, we need your help, and I desperately need your help right now. Desperately need your help.
Absolutely.
But we are gearing up for a 1 week of Roundup in May, and we're finalizing that stuff right now. So I can't tell you anything yet, except that we are going to be doing that. But you're looking at more around mid-May. So I'm going to ask you not to wait until mid-May or not until Roundup hits, because we need help now,
We certainly do.
right now. And you know,
Amen.
so you guys watched the program with Ted last
Oh,
night.
yes.
What'd you think?
Oh, it's awesome.
The techniques that he came up with, I said to myself, well, you old engineer, you can't keep up with what they're doing now.
I don't know that I can keep up with what they're doing. This virtual television,
Yeah.
and he
reality.
says every television station, not ours yet, is jumping on this because they know it is going to
The
change
wave of the
everything.
future, yep.
Yes, and very quickly too.
But
So
there's only one thing it takes.
and money.
Money.
And he
Lots
wants to
of money.
partner with GLC because he's family to us.
He is.
And you know, I was so.
And he has a
If you
heart for
missed the
Israel.
program, I got to tell you what he showed us was this little thing. It almost looks like binoculars that you put on your
it does.
face, and it responds to your movement, your eye movement, everything. And as you're turning around, it's a 360 view of anything. It's like an OmniMax theater on your face, right?
It is.
Well, his wife has been afraid to go to Israel for a long time because, you know what? She listens to the news. Not this news, but she listens to some news. And she put these things on. She looked at Jerusalem. She took them off and she said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go with you, Ted, next time I go. Because the peace just came over her about going. Isn't that amazing?
It is. I loved your story about first time you went.
And my dad having to tell me, you're my daughter. I'm not going to take you where I think you're going to get killed. See.
Well, what was CNN and the news saying?
Oh, well, it was really bad.
Yeah,
It was
really.
really bad. Don't go. Your life is like over if you go. You know what? I have news for you. If it is not safe enough for you to go, Israel won't let you go.
That's
That's
right.
right.
They will not let you in because their people are their priority. And if their focus is taken off of taking care of their own to take care of a bunch of tourists who are running around not knowing what they're doing, that's not very wise wisdom stuff. So they don't operate like that. They will not let us come there if it's not safe.
You remember we're one of the only tours in Israel one day?
And yep, that's the
That's
second time I
unbelievable.
went. That was October of 2002.
Yeah.
And we got that news as we were sitting on the Sea of Galilee that we were the only tour in Israel that day.
Now, that doesn't sound like much to you. But look at the buses that are running up and down New York City when you see the news. That's the way it looks in Israel.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy over there. Well, we've got a lot of news that we want to
do.
cover today and things that I know you're not hearing anywhere else.
That's
because
right.
you know what? I don't watch news, but I find the news for you. And my parents, especially my dad, he never hears it until he's sitting here on the set. That's why I always say, so did you hear that on the news? And your responses
No.
are always, no.
Nope.
Okay,
But
so you
you
have
do
a letter?
Well, this is an excellent letter. I'd love to read it. But I've strained my eyes on the computers today. Would you please?
Well, sure. It says, "Dear friends, thank you for all the wonderful programs you provide for this old 92-year-old widow to watch. I really like manuscripts, rocks, shovels, and cement." Matt Staver with Liberty Counsel is wonderful. The young Jew, Doran Kadar, was excellent. Maybe we can see more of him. Can't leave Dr. Booker out. He's tops. I could never get the name of the book he wrote. It had to do with questions people ask. If you know what I'm speaking of, would you please send me a copy? Deduct the cost from the check that's enclosed. Amy, I love you. You seem to be so Christ-like. You do such a wonderful job of everything. Sincerely, Melinda in Snyder.
Amen. She does. Well
What a
done.
sweet letter.
That is a sweet letter. I don't know that I do such a wonderful job of everything. I'm not quite sure what book she's talking
I'm
about.
not either. We're looking into it.
And if I can't figure it out, well, it would help if we knew maybe what program you were watching. And I can always shoot a note to Dr. Booker. Maybe he or his wife could answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He writes so many great books.
Yeah, I was thinking he's
Every
got
book
at
he
least.
writes is incredible. I've not read a bad one. Well, my
Devotion?
devotion today is a follow-up from the one I did Wednesday.
So we still have to be thankful?
We still have to be thankful. A thankful man is a humble man, he says. If you think you know God, but do not live your life in gratitude before him, it's doubtful that you really knew him in the first place. A thankful heart honors God. Too often when we say we know God, what we actually mean is we know facts about God. But we should ask ourselves, do I truly know him? Paul warns that just knowing doctrines about God is not enough to enter eternal life. He said, "For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. For even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their speculations, and their foolish heart was darkened." And that's Romans 1:20 and 21. Even though we may know God, if we do not honor him as God or give thanks to him in our daily walk, our minds darken. When we are in that hardened, ungrateful state of mind, every word we speak is a spark lit by hell, set to destroy the quality of our lives. That's from James 3:6. H.W. Beecher said, "Pride slays thanksgiving. A proud man is seldom a grateful man, for he never thinks he gets as much as he deserves." We should be thankful that we do not get what we deserve.
Amen.
When God gives us less than we desire, it's not because he's teaching us poverty. What he is teaching us is thankfulness. You see, real life, is not based upon what we amass, but on what we enjoy. Even in difficult circumstances, God still gives us much to appreciate. We fail to see what the Lord has provided because our hearts are wrong. Someone once said, "When I see a poor man who is grateful, I know if he were rich, he would be generous." A thankful spirit is akin to a generous spirit, for both appreciate and receive the riches of God. When we're thankful with little, God can entrust us with much. And that was adapted from the book The Shelter of the Most High by Francis Frangipane.
Very good.
Hope you enjoyed that.
I did.
It was good.
Yes, it was.
Well,
So true.
you know, I'm sorry to bring you this first article.
I know. Several articles.
Well, all of them. All of today's articles. Sorry. This one comes from ABC News, and it's Jewish communities around the world faced an explosion of hatred last year, with the number of violent anti-Semitic attacks rising by 38%,
Really?
according to a report released Wednesday by Israeli researchers. The report by researchers at Tel Aviv University recorded 766 incidents, ranging from armed assaults to vandalism against synagogues, schools, and cemeteries, compared to just 554 in 2013.
With most of the violence concentrated in Western Europe, Jewish leaders warned that many in their communities are questioning whether they have any future in the region. Many Jews feel like they are facing an explosion of hatred toward them as individuals, their communities, and Israel as a Jewish state, wrote the researchers from the university's Center for the Study of Contemporary European Jewry.
The center releases the report every year on the eve of Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day. The researchers said the increase in attacks on Jews was partly linked to last summer's conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, as well as to what they called a general climate of hatred and violence fostered by the rise of the Islamic State group in the Middle East.
The report said 2014 was the second most violent year for Jews in a decade after 2009, which also saw a surge in anti-Semitism following an Israeli military operation in Gaza. The violence in 2014 spiked during the July-August war in Gaza, particularly in demonstrations organized in France, Germany, and other countries, during which protesters chanted anti-Semitic slogans. They looted Jewish shops and attacked synagogues as well as people identifiable as Jews. However, researchers stressed that attacks had been on the rise also before the summer and said the controversy over Israel's operation was used as a pretext to attack Jews. Synagogues were targeted, not Israeli embassies, said Dinah Porat, a historian who edited the report.
Well, it's important to note that the reported incidents do not include the killing of 4 shoppers at a kosher supermarket in Paris following the deadly shooting at the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, since both of those events occurred in January of this year. The researchers noted that the wave of attacks has continued this year and that the gruesome acts and propaganda videos of the Islamic State are also encouraging the radicalization of Muslims in the West.
Moshe Kantor, president of the European Jewish Congress, an umbrella group representing communities across the continent, said Jewish life has reached a tipping point in Europe. Some are choosing to leave the continent, many are afraid to walk the streets, and even more are retreating behind high walls and barbed wire, Kantor told the Associated Press in an email. This has become the new reality of Jewish life in Europe.
Kantor said that while governments have pledged to boost security for their Jewish communities, they must do more at a pan-European level to share intelligence, toughen legislation, and combat pervasive anti-Semitic attitudes in the general population. European Jews should not leave out of fear and should push their leaders to defeat anti-Semitism and radical Islamist terrorism, he said.
As in past years, the highest number of attacks was reported in France, which saw 164 incidents compared to 141 in 2013. In Britain, there were 141 attacks, up from 95.
Wow.
And in the United States, there were 80 incidents versus 55, including the shooting at Jewish sites in Overland Park, Kansas, that killed 3 people. Some Western European countries saw even greater increases, with the number of incidents more than doubling in Germany, Belgium, Austria, and Sweden. The attacks also target individuals more frequently, with 306 cases involving people as victims, a 66% increase.
80 attacks in the U.S.
In the U.S.
I don't remember hearing about those.
You didn't. You had to accidentally come across it on the internet.
Okay, so I'm going to just share something with you on an article that I had found about anti-Semitism a couple of weeks ago. I had mentioned it, but I'd never brought it to you. People are having to, like, not wear clothing
That identifies them.
that will identify them. They're having to remove their mezuzahs from their doorpost to be safe. When they say that they've gone behind barbed wire in this last article, they mean it. Because in this article, if they knew that Jews lived in this house, they were breaking in and raping the women.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that great? That's the
gosh.
kind of anti-Semitism that's taking place around the world that we're not hearing anything about.
That's right.
Okay, this next article comes from the AFP, Yahoo News, and the AP. Italy's migration crisis took on a deadly new twist Thursday as police in Sicily reported that Muslim migrants had thrown 12 Christians overboard during a recent crossing from Libya. And an aid group said another 41 were feared drowned in a separate incident. Palermo police said that they had detained 15 people suspected in the high seas assault, which they learned of while interviewing tearful survivors from Nigeria and Ghana who had arrived in Palermo Wednesday morning after being rescued at sea by the ship Ellensborough. The 15 were accused of multiple homicide aggravated by religious hatred, police said in a statement.
The survivors said they had boarded a rubber boat April 14th on the Libyan coast with 105 passengers aboard, part of the wave of migrants taking advantage of calm seas and warm weather to make the risky crossing from Libya, where most smuggling operations originate. The 12 victims were all Nigerians and Ghanans, while the 15 suspects came from Senegal, Mali, and Ivory Coast. They were charged with multiple aggravated murder motivated by religious hate, according to a police statement.
Distraught Nigerian and Ghana survivors who set off from Libya on Tuesday before being rescued by an Italian vessel on Wednesday told police a group of Muslim passengers on the boat began threatening the Nigerians and Ghanans after they declared themselves to be Christians. Eventually, the threat was carried out and 12 were pushed overboard. The statement said that the motive was that the victims professed the Christian faith while the aggressors were Muslim. Now, we're repeating this, but I'm wanting you to get this. The surviving Christians, the statement said, only managed to stay on board by forming a human chain to resist the assault.
Earlier Thursday, the International Organization of Migration, the IMO, said 4 migrants who were picked up in recent days by the Italian Navy reported a shipwreck to aid workers after arriving in the Italian port of Trapani Thursday. Their boat had originally been carrying 45 people. The others are presumed dead. The IOM said the migrants, 2 Nigerians, a Ghanan, and 1 Nigerian, and were rescued by Italian naval ship Foscari.
In another drama that occurred Thursday, mere days after 400 migrants are believed to have died in a shipwreck off the coast of Libya, another 41 migrants are feared drowned after their dinghy sank en route to Italy, the IOM said. 4 survivors in Thursday's shipwreck were found floating in the sea by a helicopter. The survivors in Thursday's shipwreck, who came from Nigeria, Ghana, and Niger, had left Tripoli in Libya on Saturday. They said their boat, with 45 people on board, sank after setting sail from Libya and that they had been adrift for 4 days. Their vessel was spotted by a plane, which alerted the Italian Coast Guard. But by the time a Navy ship arrived to help them, only 4 of those 45 passengers were still alive.
The latest deaths bring the number of migrants killed while trying to cross the Mediterranean this year up to 900, the IOM said, up from 96 between January and April last year. The agency said that some 10,000 people had been rescued off Italy since Friday alone, with recent good weather prompting a spike in the number of boat migrants attempting the risky crossing, many of them fleeing conflict and poverty in Africa and the Middle East.
So we've got a refugee crisis going on. Are you hearing anything of this?
No, you're not.
Okay, on Thursday, Italy pleaded for more help from other European Union countries to rescue the migrants and share the burden of accommodating them. 90% of the cost of the patrol and sea rescue operations are falling on our shoulders, and we have not had an adequate response from the EU, Italy's foreign minister told a daily paper. Then there's the difficult issue of knowing where to send those rescued at sea. To the nearest port? To the country where their boat came from? The EU has to respond clearly to these issues, he said.
The crisis is only expected to intensify, with the Red Cross predicting record numbers of boat migrants this year. The flow is unstoppable, and we, the international community, are failing to deliver on our commitment, said the president of the Italian Red Cross. Amnesty International said it had been raising the alarm for months and urged European leaders to take action. It's an appalling indictment of European governments' lack of compassion that so little has been done when so many people remain at risk of dying off Europe's southern shores, said the group's deputy Europe and Central Asia program director.
Well, I want to take just a little bit of time to thank the people who have been praying for me, Dr. Scotts, who have been taking care of me. I've had the most miserable 3 weeks I've had. I went in to see an eye doctor about my glasses. I tripped on their porch and I had the bloodiest slip of birds off, one cracked rib.
You did crack a rib? You
Yes,
hadn't told me
ma'am.
that.
Let me tell you how the miracle was bad. I didn't mention that much, but night before last I couldn't sleep and I was laying on the side and that rib was hurting. I said, "You sure you've healed me so many times? I hate to ask you again, but could you heal this rib?" And he did. And I slept and it hadn't hurt since.
Wow.
So if you got problems with your health, guess who the great doctor is?
Amen.
The Scots are good. They do need some help down there with getting people in to work on
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that because
Yes.
I was in there the other day and Dr. Scott asked me to mention that the doctor who works with them is becoming a missionary and
Yes.
he's leaving in like 2 weeks. So they need a doctor partnering with them in this practice. So
That's right.
give Dr. Scott's office a call. And if you don't have
Yeah,
that number,
you're a
you can
doctor.
call the bookstore because they will give it to you. But, you know, they would really love to have someone who practices alternative medicine. But you know what? They don't care.
Anyone who's willing to work with them.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
But if you
So-
were a poor soul like me who needed help from them, now you know why we mentioned it right now. We do.
Oh, well, no, I didn't realize that. I'm just glad to
Yeah.
hear through the grapevine that you had a cracked rib.
And today they gave me a clean bill of health.
Did they?
Yes, they
Okay.
did. Which they told me to tell you because you were asking about that. Make sure I got in there. I got
That's
in
right.
there and I got a clean bill of health. Okay, that's all I got to say today.
Well, okay, it's been a busy week. Next week is
It's
going to be
awesome
a really,
week.
really busy week as well. And
And don't forget to think about helping us early with our finances, please.
well, actually, it's not really early. It's late because we're a month behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for helping us. Shabbat,
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
We sure love you guys.